secondary progressed natal chart report. This is the Peace Dealer. I hope you gain the utmost of quality from this report. I'm not sure if I shared with you the alien construct article before. I believe I did. But seeing that you ordered this progress chart report, it's great to see accordingly that you have inherited another alien construct, or you're on the verge of inheriting another alien construct. You're within range. Of course, with your sun that has progressed into Sagittarius, okay? And you are within a good 5 years, if not 6 years, of reaching Neptune, giving you the Neptunian alien construct, or the Neptunian alien construct. So with that being said, there we go. This definitely goes a long way towards how powerfully, there we go, yeah, how powerfully you've not only leveled up, but where to take this. So yeah, I do see that I have given you the alien construct article, the one for Saturn instrument and Pluto power. So I'm going to include this article again so that you can look up Neptunian power, where you can look up the other two as well. Neptunian power, you can ascend, be mystical, dance the sacred dance, create world peace through visualization, assist the dying and crossing over, heal addictions, and as you can see, you know, easily access the astral plane. You'll be able to see there's a lot more here. One thing I want to highlight is that Neptune power aliens can ascend. So that in and of itself is key. But having that in the sign of ascension, Sagittarius, is even more amazing. So that's something we want to see here. Given that you are on the verge of eclipsing, once, you know, your progressed 7-degree sun, which moves a degree every year, reaches 13 degrees in about 6 years. Let's say 4 for your natal, 6 for your progressed. And I'm going to talk about the significance of this because this forms somewhat of a Neptune gate that with Jupiter and Aries is forming a grand fire trine. So not only are you inheriting this clairvoyant, supernatural magic ability and condition and quality of this visual, psychic, supernatural, abstract quality and ability. However, we also see that not only are you doing that, but we also see that you going through this Neptune aspect is almost as if you're walking through a gate as well. And not only are you walking through this gate, this is you over the next 6 years, basically augmenting on your part, your spiritual awareness to be able to see beyond the veil and also step through this transcendence of how you're currently ascending. And this is where I love doing progress charts for Libra or Libra Sun, because the Libra progression speaks of the fall of Lucifer and the fallen angels. Okay. Something that as a Gemini born Libra Sun, you actually resonate with. Unlike Kamala Harris, who is a Gemini rising. And so the type of fallen spirit she is an angel. You have a fallen spirit, or your spirit is in its fall, but you have this as solar queen and a whole gangster at that. Like you got Saturn on your rising and you have an angel soul. So in a sense, you can say you are a fallen angel if you identify as that. But not everyone with their Libra sun is a fallen angel. I've actually spoken to some who have identified with this and, you know what, I've always felt like I was one. And then I know some who maybe don't necessarily identify with that yet, or just really identify with that. There's certain rhetoric to suggest that some people chose to be fallen. Like some people chose to play this role for humanity. And it's not necessarily the way religious dogma likes to see it as, oh, they're all evil and damned. So another way to see this is maybe you might have chosen, especially with Saturn on your rising, to help assist the fallen angels or the fallen vibration. Because what this will represent, Libra suns especially, will reach an unattainable peak. Will reach a point of success that no one else will ever achieve, and then they'll fall from grace. We've seen this happen with Eminem. We've seen this happen with Will Smith. This happens with like every Libra. And then, of course, you go through purification, and then you ascend back into light. After like a recovery phase, you of course come back into whatever you grant. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. In some cases, you might, for depending on the Libra sun, they might see this happen to other people. They might facilitate this for the collective around them, where they help heal people who've gone through this. Because with Pluto on your sun, of course, you're transforming the social dynamics. So the significance of the progression of Libra, okay, we know that the prince of the power of heaven fell into the second heaven, right? The prince of the power of the air is the ruler of Libra, the morning star, Venus, okay? And in your chart, you don't have a morning star aspect. Morning star is if the Venus is behind the sun. You have like a Hesperus star. But personally, we know that it took a third of the angels with them. And the sun now, which is exalted in Aries, is in its fall in Libra. So this represents, of course, coming into Scorpio, purification, touring the underworld, right? This is where Lucifer became the prince of hell, or the underworld, right? But regardless, what this really means astrologically, you find astrologically the significance is way different than in the Bible. Astrologically, you progress through Scorpio to gain purification. And after you've gained purification, you ascend into the light in Sagittarius. So at 9 to 10 years old, you had your progression into Scorpio. And this was key because you had this after the full moon after the new moon in Libra. In that there was, the new moon in Scorpio, let me take that back, because there was, of course, a full moon in Aries before you were born. And it looks like that was followed by the new moon in Libra. Okay. Unless the new moon was right at the end of Libra, which we can see. So it looks like you had the new moon in Scorpio. Then you had the full moon in Taurus. So you had a whole new and full moon cycle. Then you had the new moon in Sagittarius. No, it looks like you had it at the end. Let's go back in time. So it looks like you actually had the new moon in Libra and then the full moon in Taurus. So if we go back in time, yeah, it looks like you had the new moon at the end of Libra. So if we go back to like 84, you had the new moon. You had the new moon at the end of Libra. Would you look at that? That's crazy. That's very rare. Especially for it to be 29 degrees, my friend, that is so exceptionally rare. Oh my God, that's very interesting. So you had the new moon at 29 degrees Libra, and I have to tell you, that's very interesting. That's very rare. So you started the Libra new moon cycle at its mastery, at its peak. So you were born after the full moon, and then you stepped into this brand new definition of your social consciousness and attitude and the development of your social skills at 9, 8 years old. That's where you started that cycle. Okay. Then you had the full moon in Taurus. Okay. And that most likely now led to, of course, 85, 95, 2005, 2015. If we go to 2015, boom, we see, yep, you had the new moon in Scorpio. Okay. So you had it like earlier 2015. So if we go to 2017, yep, you had the new moon in Scorpio. So 29 degrees Scorpio, you have to understand that is so rare, my friend. That is so rare to have it at the end of the sign. That's a sign of mastery right there, especially because you're having the full moon. Especially because you're having the full moon before the new moon of that sign. Okay. It's also really awesome because personally, now that you've stepped into Sagittarius, you know, you had the full moon in Taurus, then the new moon in Scorpio. So you had this brand new cycle, 85 of new social skills. Then 30 years passed, right? You had the 17 years full moon, then another 15 years, give or take, boom, new moon in Scorpio. So this is a brand new cycle of now relative to evolving and stepping through this definition of your social skills and social consciousness, deepening this purity and purification process of now kicking off a brand new cycle 2015 of wisdom, understanding the wisdom of your ancestry. And then, of course, as a Virgo rising, developing more these social skills, because there's still a third house, like it's still carrying on this third house lesson. You've, of course, evolved from Leo rising to the critic Virgo rising. And now that we look at 2022, you have progressed into Sagittarius, okay? And the moon is in Pisces going through the square. Your rising is 26 degrees Virgo. So the significance of this that we have is you're getting ready for the full moon in Gemini. That full moon in Gemini transit is going to lead eventually to 29 degrees, maximum ascension of Sagittarius, to kick off that new cycle that will ground the Capricorn transit. So the Scorpio transit was purification. Congratulations, you completed that. Now that you've completed purification, you are now on the path literally to ascension. Welcome to the path of godhood, where Scorpio, the apotheosis process, purifies you and prepares you through transformation to ascend in the godhood. You had North Node, you had Uranus, you had Mars in Scorpio. And so that really represented the unconventionality of how unique you not only have taken action, but established your destiny through this period, aligned it with your heart. This is everything that the eclipse is putting you in a position to accomplish. Okay. The eclipse is having you now take everything you've worked for, especially through this progression, to develop this inner space and your attitude about it and your approach socially, so that you can manifest this career breakthrough. Especially with this eclipse process, congratulations. Leo season was the breakthrough checkpoint to see on your person how you identify with this monopoly you are manifesting. Okay. Now, that being said, you've stepped into ascension. Ascension is now, with the principle of Jupiter, the expansion of now bringing to a head the all-seeing nature of God, enabling you during this period not only to see God in all things and to see into infinity, but with Neptune to activate the next level of your clairvoyance. Now that your spiritual awareness has reached the level of evolution and progression to where, as a Libra sun, you can now see the higher, bigger picture and meaning of everything that you were born socially aware of. This is cool because now the Sagittarian expression as a Libra sun expresses more the creativity and skill of your artistry as a Libra. In that, you know, I can't wait to get out of Cancer and go into Leo, because as a Gemini, I don't really like dealing with the fields. I don't really like dealing with feelings. I don't really like having to like be aware of how what I say makes others feel. Like I'm not a fan. But once it goes into, it's teaching me a lot about emotional intelligence. There's nothing wrong with Cancer. It's just such a very, you know, sensitive, psychically receptive sign. It sucks to go through psychic attack. Once it goes into Leo, though, that's going to be fun, because now as a Gemini, I can talk shit in Leo. I could be like bold, say shit with my chest. Like, I'm looking forward to that. Just like you finally made it through the underworld in Scorpio. That was not fun. I know for a fact that was not fun. You had to go through the Saturn square with Leo and clash with aspects of your own self, but you made it. You've made it into Mount Olympus, the land of the gods. Okay. And this is actually very fun. So this is now having you express boldly and passionately everything you are good at in being a Libra. Whereas the Scorpio progression might have subdued that, because the Scorpio progression had to take the power of your Libran social adeptness and strengthen how much more purely and intensely you express it. Now that you've completed that, now this is about being wild, being joyful. And Sagittarius is the palette that Libra as the artist paints off of. So you're focusing your awareness more on the colors you're using, the nature of how freely you express, and how much more abstractly you tap into Neptune here. Okay. And so with that being said, we know that this sextiles Pluto in your chart, and given the 7-degree progression, that 4-year mark stepping into there is what's going to activate this coming into the next 2 years for that 4 to 6 year mark, where you're going to go through Neptune. And the closer you get through there over the next couple of years, the much more powerfully you'll be in a position to, you know, come into this very unique sense of your own magic. Because Libra was the power axis. Scorpio, you manifested wisdom and deeper social connection and intelligence and emotional intelligence socially. And then, of course, Sag is high magic, my friend. So as you develop this high magic, the first thing that happens is this trine to Saturn, which is going to now stabilize the nature of these visions you'll be processing with Mercury progressed. Okay, taking the intelligent, logical nature of your brain processing, adding a deeper psychological, emotional intelligence, and now expressing this fully with magic, with ascended magic that enables you to highlight clairvoyance in your vision. Okay, yep, we getting psychic. So Saturn stabilizes with your heart the unstable nature of the changeable, mutable aspect of this magic that's here, that's there, especially with your moon in Gemini, that's helping you align what you see with logical thoughts, enlightenment. Okay, so you actually seeing the truth. This Saturnian aspect is anchoring the strength from the source energy of your heart, so that the images that are projecting are stable here and based on, once again, this integrity of your heart. Very key, because if there was no Saturn here, it would be that much less stable. Okay, we know that the moon has progressed into its first quarter square past the new moon. Okay, with it 13 degrees Pisces. 6 months ago, it was exactly square, give or take. And so at 6 degrees. And so this first quarter square, relative to the new moon, it's manifested the value of Cap and Sag, expressed the knowledge through Aquarius, is during this period over the next 17 years before it goes into Aries, having you understand the nature of the metaphysical experiences and the supernatural understanding of what visions you're seeing and the bigger picture you're seeing. Because Gemini answers the question, what? Sagittarius answers, what does that word mean in the dictionary, right? And Pisces answers why. So you're coming into a deeper understanding of why things mean what they mean. Moon in Pisces, Sun, Sag. Mars, which was in Scorpio, has mastered this nuclear psychological strength to now express itself with wanderlust and passion in Sag. Venus, which has gained this mastery of psychological strength and now fully progressed through converting that into great passion and joy, is now structuring and organizing how much more powerfully it can gain expression, as it will perfectly sextile your natal chart once it comes into 22 degrees. So now the intuitive depth and wisdom of your heart in Scorpio now has much more grounded, practical, and controlled expression, so that you can tangibly express the depth of this wisdom now that you've manifested its ascended quality, to show people how grounded this is. Okay, it's very powerful. Very, 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 very powerful. Your Venus is squaring all your natal Libra, so it's having you clash with an older way of seeing yourself. This is where certain things maybe you might have liked before, you're now growing more mature out of that. That's the way to look at that square. But it's still having you express more the wisdom of your heart, just practically now. Perfect. So that in a nutshell is your progression. My moon in Pisces, my moon is progressed in Pisces right now. So it's just 27 degrees. I'm about like a few more degrees ahead. I'm about to actually enter Aries in 3 months. But it's cool to know we're traveling the same soul space. So moon in Pisces is going to have you feel chill. You might be more resting during this period. When my progression was in Cap, I was going out all the time. When it was in Aqua, I went back to school, I was gaining knowledge. You're gaining knowledge of ascension. And now you're understanding the divine magic that helps you see further into the unseen as you grasp this higher meaning. Because as a Libra sun, you've now progressed into the zodiac sign that helps ascend your awareness of how to creatively express your attitude and vision, which as a master Virgo sun is getting ready to move into Libra rising, so that you can express more the ascended nature of these skills and how your attitude is now ascending accordingly and appropriately as well. What will most definitely moving forward key you into such amazing breakthrough is, once again, in another like 17 months, once this moves into Aries, you're going to now understand how bold you take action with your identity. So all this moon in Pisces transit is doing is effectively preparing you to very magically take action accordingly. Once you move accordingly and appropriately in the right direction that moon in Pisces is inspiring you to move in, okay? And this is going to change your beliefs around what it is your Sag sun progressed to seeing, so that once the moon goes into Aries, you move in that direction towards the development of your authentic character, so that you can fully express the progression of this Sag sun and develop very original talents. Okay, so this moon in Pisces is really just helping you understand how much to shift the magic behind this perception. And because the progressed moon will, throughout the next 12 months, go over Neptune, if not over the next 24 months, you're going to also become a vessel of Neptune. So you can read Neptune vessel alien in the transit sense, which will prepare and put you in a position to very magically and realistically tap into this nature of the intuitive vibes and abstract reality or existence around you. I hope you enjoyed this report. You stay blessed.